garbage for supporting Donald Trump. So will this be the undoing of the Harris campaign? I'll break down the data for you. Download the Ben Ferguson podcast now.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Committed to covering the important stories and issues that the rest of the media won't touch. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Donald Trump has now been convicted of 34 different felony crimes.
Gunfire, former President Trump's campaign rally in Butler County. Investigators calling it a possible assassination attempt.
I proudly accept your nomination for president.
President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid.
There's been another assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
Early voting kicked off today.
The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
It was, quite simply, the greatest comeback in American political history. Donald Trump becomes the first president since Grover Cleveland to be elected on non-consecutive occasions. He is the next president of the United States. Welcome to the biggest celebration you will perhaps ever hear on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Wisconsin, we did it for the second straight time. Fox News projections as Wisconsin gives him 277 electoral votes, making Fox the first network to call the presidential race for Donald Trump. I cannot possibly, folks, thank you enough for listening to this show, this radio station, for following along with this movement, for taking part in the state's largest early vote drive, to casting your ballots, to getting your friends and family out to vote, to doing what you could to make this moment happen. I am forever in awe of what you did, and I am forever in your debt. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, our phone lines are open. And ladies and gentlemen, I do want to hear from you. 414-799-1130. That's our AdventNows.com talk and text line. 1-800-838-9476. You can email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. You can watch the show streaming live on YouTube as well. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. We want to hear your reaction. We want to hear your hopes for the second Trump term. Most importantly, I just want to share this moment with as many of you as I possibly can, because it is a moment that I will, I think, remember for the rest of my life. On election night, we kicked off our special coverage with President Trump himself. He actually called up WISN special election coverage at about 6:30 last night. And we've got the audio. We'll play it later on in the show. I believe I might have been the first person to tell him that Miami-Dade County was going to him in what amounted to a landslide by double digits. That is a very good harbinger for the rest of the country. Also, we saw great numbers early on in Morris County, New Jersey, and several counties in New York, meaning that what I was telling President Trump without overtly telling him is that that there was a very good chance, based on the early returns that I was seeing, that he was going to be the 47th president of the United States. He actually asked me if I had any more New York numbers to share with him. And folks, I wish I could bottle up that moment and live it forever. That anticipation, that excitement, that nervousness, and then finally at about 10:30 last night, that relief, that overwhelming sense of relief that was 4 years in the making. Not only did Trump win a resounding victory in the Electoral College, he also did something that was just a couple of days earlier thought to be likely impossible. He won the popular vote as well. This, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing short of a landslide, at least as much as a landslide can exist in modern American politics. And this delivers Trump a mandate. He has the Senate to work with. It appears that while the House of Representatives is likely still undecided, we don't quite know, Republicans do appear to have the inside track. We will get to all of the race analysis, some of the numbers that are still coming in. We do unfortunately have some bad news, it appears, from the Senate race here in Wisconsin. We'll get to that and so much more on a special edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Before we go any further, however, the Fall Fortune Cash Contest, the word this hour is money. M-O-N-E-Y. Money. You have got until 55 past this hour to go to our website, enter the keyword money. If your entry is picked at random, you win $1,000 in cash money. The former president thanked his supporters and the American people during his victory speech last night at about, I would say about 1 a.m.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
It was a celebratory speech in true Trump fashion. It sort of rambled a little bit, but frankly, folks, would we have it any other way? I didn't think so.
Frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
It absolutely is crazy. I didn't think that it was possible that the victory was going to be that resounding. Folks, I had a feeling for about the last 2 weeks. I didn't dare to hope, however, when I started seeing the early vote returns. And I think when the story of the 2024 presidential election is written, if the people who write this story are honest, it is going to come down to Republicans' embrace of the early vote, building up such an advantage in the swing states that it was Democrats who couldn't possibly hope to keep up. In 2020, the story was the mail-in ballots that overwhelmingly went for Democrats. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Kamala Harris, as things stand right now, 66 million. Former President Trump had 74 million in 2020. His vote total only dropped a relatively small amount by about 3 million votes. There are 15 million Biden voters who vanished. I'll say that again. 15 million Biden voters who vanished in 2024. If they ever existed in 2020. I have to give a big shout out to the Republican National Committee and its rapid response team that was deployed across the swing states and was at an issue at Central Count in Milwaukee within a matter of minutes. They deployed the lawyers. They deployed pretty much everyone who was on standby in Milwaukee after a couple of weeks worth of investigating vote fraud rings out of Arizona operating potentially in Pennsylvania to try to juice the vote for Kamala Harris. Michael Whatley and Laura Trump, the co-chairs of the RNC, did a masterful job ensuring that this election was run according to the law in a way that 2020 wasn't. What we also saw was stunning overperformance for Donald Trump in rural counties, I think buoyed most notably by their turnout in that early vote, either in person or by mail. And folks, this is where you come in. I have made it my mission to get as many conservatives voting early as humanly possible. I saw what Democrats did in 2020. And that's why for the past 2 weeks, even though I thought the most likely outcome of all was that Trump was going to run away with this election with about 312 electoral votes, I did believe, since the swing states usually swing together and all of the fundamentals favored Trump, that he was very likely to win either 306 or 312 electoral votes. That's what the data showed. That's what the early vote suggested. That's what all the polls were pointing to. I thought Nevada was probably going to be the wild card. It turns out Nevada swung harder towards Trump than pretty much anywhere else. But the story really was, in terms of those swings, the swing towards Trump was overwhelming, and it was geographically spread out across the entire United States. There was not one region that swung for Trump and other regions didn't. Even in the heaviest blue states, even in the most Democrat states in the country, Donald Trump made significant gains. In fact, would you believe that Donald Trump, I'm not going to say he very nearly won Illinois, but he was far closer in Illinois than he ever should have been. Same thing with Virginia. While it was thought that possibly Trump would take Virginia or New Hampshire, he ultimately didn't. But the swings in especially Loudoun County, Virginia, showed us relatively early on that Trump was almost certain to win the swing counties in the swing states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. However, I didn't dare to dream. I didn't dare to hope because of the post-traumatic stress disorder it seems I and many of us were still feeling from election night 2020. When we went to bed thinking that Trump had won, only to wake up and realize that he didn't. But after that pain, after that heartbreak, after that devastation, after the truly nightmarish 4 years of incompetent governance that followed, it was all building towards this moment. It was all building towards something I think a lot bigger. Had Trump won re-election, he would have faced more impeachments. He would have faced another sham investigation. He might have even faced a criminal investigation while he was president. COVID-19 would not have been allowed to end even with the introduction of the vaccine. They would have continued to hammer the COVID death counts and the COVID illnesses and all of that. His second term probably would have been as mired in Democrat obstruction and Democrat dirty tricks as the first. Now, however, he sweeps back into power after the entire country saw the comparison between his and Republicans' governance and Democrats. The successes of the Trump administration: low interest rates, low gas prices, affordable goods at the grocery store, peace around the world, prosperity at home, secure borders, everything that America has always yearned for. Followed by 4 years of an inflation nightmare, an illegal immigration invasion, skyrocketing crime rates, and a government that seemed more focused on dividing us by race, by gender, by sexuality, by anything they could possibly find to divide us in order to keep us angry amongst ourselves and not focus on their failures. Last night we did. Last night we made them pay for their failures, and we did so with such a loud voice that they can never ignore us again. What Trump did, what all of us did together, was not just win an election, was not just continue a movement, but I believe fundamentally reshape American politics for generations. I will explain how. We will take your phone calls, and we will have much more on Donald Trump's victory next.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, made for Wisconsin, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires, it's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org. You know, the big wireless companies want you to overpay for data that you don't need, but you don't have to settle for that with Pure Talk. Well, you get to choose how much data that you actually want. And for $25 a month, you'll get unlimited talk, unlimited text. You're going to get mobile hotspot, 5 gigs of data. Go with Pure Talk, and you get to choose how much data you actually want. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, and if you do it now, you'll save an additional 50% off your first month from Pure Talk.
President-elect Donald Trump's victory marks a sea change in American politics. The Republican Party has now completed its transition that I believe was decades in the making, starting with Ronald Reagan, with a brief detour into neoconservatism in the George W. Bush era after 9/11, into the party of the working man, into the party of the people. What Donald Trump was able to do was to transcend the divisive racial and demographic politics that have dominated since the Obama era, Democrats built a coalition based on race, based on gender, based on sexuality, and you saw in the increasingly unhinged reactions to Trump's win, and oh yes, the unhinged liberal of the day today is going to be a doozy. I've got about 5,000 different meltdowns to choose from. We should have some pretty good contenders today. Let's just put it that way. We will get into that, I think, more in the 10 o'clock hour. I think suffice it to say, as fun as it would be to play Guess What's Racist today, we're not going to. We have to dedicate the entire show to reacting to what happened last night. And what happened is bigger than just one man winning the presidency. It's bigger than one party dominating. The Republican Party dominated not just because of its embrace of early voting, which was a big, big factor. And again, from the bottom of my heart, folks, thank you so much for taking part in Wisconsin's largest early vote drive. Thank you for understanding why early voting is so important. You were the reason that Trump won Wisconsin. You were the reason that Trump won the presidency. All right? All I did was talk about it and give you the nudge. You were the ones who went out and did it. You were the ones who got other people to go out and do it. But even beyond that, Trump especially, and Republicans more generally, have made such inroads with the Black and Latino communities of the inner cities in Milwaukee and Philadelphia and Cleveland and Detroit, in Miami, that we saw massive swings towards Trump pretty much everywhere. In fact, some exit polls suggest that Donald Trump might have won as many as 40% of Latinos. What we're seeing here is a new party, a new movement based not around racial division, as was en vogue from the dawn of the Black Lives Matter movement. Barack Obama saying, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon, straight through into Biden and Kamala Harris, especially trying to say, well, women have to vote for me. She even dragged up Obama to say the brothers aren't as enthused as they should be about Kamala Harris. That sort of presupposition that you must vote Democrat because you are Black, because you are Hispanic, because you are a woman, because you are gay is dead. We now have a party realignment that's based on populism versus elitism, economic policy versus socio-engineering. We have party divisions right now that are based on the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, to put it into terms that would be familiar to all campus socialists who now make up the bulk of the Democratic Party's voters. The proletariat is the Republican Party, is the conservative movement. The bourgeoisie, the owners of the means of production in America, the thought leaders, the opinion leaders, the corporate leaders, they're all on the left. It's no surprise then that younger, especially male voters, were flocking to Donald Trump in record numbers. There's always been something, I think, deeply ingrained in the young man's psyche, that he wants to rage against the machine. The machine for Generation Y, the 25 and under generation, Generation Z, the machine has been controlled by the left for their entire lives. Over the course of the past quarter century, the institutional left solidified its control over college campuses and the media, which was always biased. But in the age of George W. Bush, starting in about 2006, continuing with the open cheerleading for Barack Obama, the press made itself a willing arm, the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party. With the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, we saw corporate America for what it was, controlled almost exclusively by left-wing liberals who imported their college campus DEI ideas into the boardroom and foisted it upon the American public. Last night, the American public struck back. We don't want to be divided by race. We don't want to be divided by gender. We don't want an America that's envisioned by far-left Marxists. constantly apologizing for real or imagined sins of the past. We're proud of this country. We proudly wave the flag. We stand for the anthem. We kneel for the cross. Yes, we are still a fundamentally Christian nation. And we're united in our fundamental love of basic precepts that have always underpinned American society. Liberty, industriousness, family, community, unity. Believe it or not, the man that they told us was the most divisive figure in American political history united people of all backgrounds, perhaps like nobody has since the dawn of this century. Donald Trump put together a working coalition of working people of all backgrounds from all walks of life in all states. There was not an area of this country that didn't swing heavily towards Trump. Even if Trump didn't win an area or didn't win a state, there's a very good chance he improved his position by at least 8%. Was that because of how historically awful Kamala Harris was as a candidate? Very possibly, but I think it was something deeper than that, and something even deeper than just Americans comparing the past 4 years to the previous 4. I think it was a deep-seated yearning to go back to an America that wasn't a fictionalized, idealized 1950s misogynistic, racist place, as Democrats have always told us that it was, but a place that we all know America never stopped being. The sort of place where you could proudly display an American flag outside your house, where you didn't have to lock your doors because we lived in a high-trust society where you wouldn't have your house burglarized or your car stolen from the driveway if you left it unattended for 5 minutes. Donald Trump represented the promise that that is still here. You just have to look past the media spin. You just have to look past our corporate overlords. You have to look past the university professors, the high school bureaucrats who have tried to indoctrinate you into a false belief about Trump, about Republicans, about America itself from the time you're about 5 years old. Finally, it seems, America woke up. America said enough is enough, and America spoke with one unified voice and said, we want the America that we know we are. We want it back. You're no longer going to keep it from us, and we're going to rally around the person that you tell us is going to destroy America. Well, guess what? We know better than you.
By now, you've probably figured out what's most important to us at Semper Fi is our reputation. Building a great character-driven remodeling company is actually quite easy. It's just the first 20 years that are a bit challenging. Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation, but they only come after you've built something they want to be part of. We don't necessarily have to look for good people. They come to us. And that's what you want when you hire an exterior remodeling company. Someone who's going to stand behind their work, and a company that is truly proud of their people. And it's because they do great work. And when you're ready, we'll do great work for you too. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi. This week on Living Your Light, Daryl and Edith share a lesson in numbers.
You know, 70 is the new 30.
Is it? I was never good at math.
And the gang has a heart-to-heart.
65 and still making new friends. Golly.
It's independent living at the Marcourt, an Illuminous community. Check out themarcourt.org or call 920-206-4663 to schedule a tour today. Illuminous. Live your light.
Hey, it's Jerry Bott, and I've said it on the radio 1,000 times. The businesses who make the customer's experience their number one priority are the ones that succeed and thrive. When I bought my SUV at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac, the customer experience blew me away. It was beyond merely professional. It was impeccable.
Great news, Wisconsin. The year-end sale is on at Holiday in Fond du Lac. Perfect timing to add more joy to your holiday season and drive with confidence this winter in a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC, or a GM-certified pre-owned model. Get here, get more for your trade, get our low simplified price, then pair it up with enticing offers to lower your bottom line and payment.
Here's another Holiday fan that you might know.
I'm professional running back Braylon Allen, and I drive Holiday. It's impressive how easy car buying can be with Team Holiday on your side.
Come take a test drive, find yours, and drive it home today from Holiday Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
In 1964, we were making strides towards space travel.
Mary Poppins was the #1 movie in theaters.
And the Beatles were taking America by storm.
Which was long before I was born.
Facts. 1964 is also the year it all started for Richlands Tire and Service Centers. 60 years of continuous growth and more happy customers than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, the streamers are a bit overkill. It's just us in the studio.
Well, all right. But it's important to know accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Mitschke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richlands Tire and Service Centers.
Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx, save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Brighten your home and save on energy costs with Brighter Concepts. Our innovative solar-powered night lights not only enhance your home's safety, but also help you take advantage of a 30% federal tax credit. Imagine the peace of mind knowing your home is well lit without increasing your electricity bill. Call today for a free estimate and start saving. Illuminate your nights with Brighter Concepts, where bright ideas meet smart savings. Contact Brighter Concepts, your Wisconsin solar tube dealer, at 414-332-9050. That's 414-332-9050.
How appropriate. time to say goodbye, not just to Kamala Harris, not just to Joe Biden, not just to the Democratic Party, at least in 2024, but also to the poisonous, divisive ideology that they have been pushing for more than a decade now. Think about it like this. Kamala Harris's closing argument was that Donald Trump was a fascist. By extension, all of us who support him are akin to Nazi brown shirts. Yet they're the ones who call us the party of divisiveness. To my point about us being unified, about us speaking with a singular voice, after they said we're trash. Now, turns out the trash today took out the garbage. To that point, one of the most remarkable things about last night's coverage was on CNN, where the very, very good analyst, John King, who does just a great job on election night, both he and Steve Kornacki over at MSNBC are fantastic at crunching the numbers and, to the best of their ability, putting partisan politics aside to try to offer sober, rational analysis. John King was asked, in what counties did Kamala Harris improve on Joe Biden's performance? Jake Tapper wanted to know. The answer stunned him.
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
Not one county in the entire United States. Not one county. Red states, blue states, purple states. In no state, in no county, did Kamala Harris improve upon Joe Biden's 2020 performance. We were told for weeks and weeks and weeks that this was going to be a close race, that it was going to be a toss-up, that we wouldn't know results for days or possibly even weeks. But ladies and gentlemen, for months, even though I, who try to crunch the numbers as much as possible, try to provide as honest an assessment as I couldn't get past the fact that Donald Trump might actually win this. There was one person who was telling me, Dan, for months, really since July, Donald Trump was going to win with between 310 and 320 electoral votes. I told you yesterday, my Uncle Steve texted me. He said, and I quote, this was at exactly 9:57 on Election Day, 9:57 a.m. yesterday. I read this text on the air. Remember, stay calm. If you feel anguish, think of me. I said a long time ago Trump will win between 312 to 326 electoral votes. I have been doing polling. If Kamala wins a surprise state, Trump wins with 287 to 290. My gut tells me a landslide. We will talk on the air to listeners and let my friends know that I'm alive. Sincerely, my Uncle Steve. I did not know we needed a proof of life, but here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show, Uncle Steve, who called the race almost perfectly months ago. Uncle Steve, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Dan. I'm running on fumes right now like you are. I would like to say to everyone listening, just enjoy today. Just enjoy today. Treat yourself. Be happy. Take in the time and love it, because this is the greatest moment. We made history. We made history last night by Trump coming back and winning for president number 47. Dan, I want to say something real quick. Your Aunt Sharon, I want to give her props because she has been listening to me as long as I've been telling you about the 310 to 320. She allowed me to crunch the numbers, like you said. you know me. I'm a nerd. I like to crunch numbers.
In fact, I can say normally this guy does more detailed draft boards than I think some NFL teams. I think if the Cleveland Browns wanted to draft smarter, they would follow your analysis. So yeah, you're a data guy, and you actually took to heart, Uncle Steve, what I always tell people to do, and that's to do your own research. You were actually looking at like county by county analysis for months, weren't you?
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, what happened is I did a lot of crunch work until June 27th.
Yeah.
When Trump destroyed Biden, and all this research work I did, I had to go to square one and start all over again.
Well, but you knew by mid-August, when everybody else was saying the vibes are with Kamala Harris, you were telling me every single day, hey, Dan, just remember, it's going to be a bigger margin than people think, and here's why. Uncle Steve, I do have to move on to a lot of other callers, but I do want you to share what you told me earlier about you really believing that this was sort of an act of God after the July 13th shooting.
Well, it came to me because, it's, like I said, July 13th. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. A little bit about me. I had spinal meningitis when I was 13, when I was 9 months old, real quick. I should have died. I lived. No way should I be here right now at 81 years later. When Trump got shot, by all rights, he should have died. So that told me that Trump was going to win, that God protected him. They put a shield, God put a shield on him, because Israel was attacked on, and I put it together with Trump and then Israel, that Israel was attacked, and the Lord, Israel is God's people. So I figured if he did that to his people, he's going to protect Trump. He's going to restore the country so that America works with Israel, our ally. And that was the turning point of where I believe. You know, I did the crunch numbers, but then I did the theory of it.
You know, Uncle Steve, I couldn't be prouder. I said yesterday, if Trump won in a landslide, we're going to put Uncle Steve on to let all his buddies know that he's still alive. This is your proof of life. And I just wanted to say thank you very publicly for keeping me sane, because it honestly felt like I had an elephant sitting on my chest for the last month. And yes, I know we were kind of laughing. Uncle Steve was predicting a blowout. I've talked about him a lot on the show. There is something to that. What that man has overcome in his life is nothing short of miraculous. And I am so proud of him. I am so happy that he's my uncle. And I don't think there is a man on earth who is happier about Trump's win than him. Let's go out to Elizabeth in Franksville. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Happy Election Day, Celebration Day. Elizabeth, how you doing?
Yes, I'm doing great. Thanks, Dan. I just want to first of all give all praise and glory to God. This was only by his grace are we rejoicing today. And back, I was listening to your uncle, and it's God's sovereignty and his providence. He was not meant to die that day or anything that these evil people have. We are all just so grateful and thankful for God's grace, for President Trump being our next president with J.D. Vance. And I also just wanted to say it's a bummer that Hovde did not get in.
Yeah.
But I think this is just a lesson, hopefully, for many, that if you just go to vote for the president of the United States, you can't do that. You got to stay. You got to fill out the whole ballot.
Well, in fact, I'm going to get deeper into the results, the Hovde race, state legislative races in the next hour. And there actually is a far more concrete reason that Eric Hovde lost. And that reason is named Thomas Leaguer. To a lesser extent, I think the Libertarian candidate in the race, Phil Anderson, siphoned some votes away from Hovde. But the real spoiler was the Democrat-funded candidate. Now, the race has not been called. I know early this morning, Tammy Baldwin unfortunately declared victory. I don't believe there are enough votes for Hovde to make up the gap. We will get into that in greater depth, and we need to talk more about voters. You need to be smarter. You need to see through dirty Democrat tricks. And I am actually going to announce a plan of my own that I might need some crowdfunding for and some help for to help offset this idea that Democrats are just going to run fake candidates to try to siphon votes away from us. Yes, I am very serious about this. No, frankly, I don't care whether it runs afoul of either FCC or FEC rules. I'll outline that coming up later on here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Let's go to Steve, another Steve in Bowling Green. How you doing, Steve? You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm doing great, Dan, and I just wanted to let you know that I think it was great news that Donald Trump got the presidency again. But there is one thing that I'm worried about between now and January 20th, and it's because it's the chaos and the riots that are probably going to happen because the Dems just probably will not accept what has happened. And I'm just worried about Donald Trump's safety, and I hope that we can elevate his Secret Service around him to keep him safe. And I still believe, that in the next 4 years, somebody is going to try to take him out, and that worries me as well. But I just wanted to say I am looking forward to having a better life for the next 4 years than what I've had in the past 4 years. And I have never worked at McDonald's. However, I was raised in a middle-class family.
Excellent. I knew that was coming, Steve. Oh, my gosh. Clearly, Steve from Bowling Green did not just fall out of the coconut tree. That is my biggest fear too, Steve, is that given the fact that the unhinged rhetoric from Democrats has only increased since 2 assassination attempts in the span of just a couple of months against Trump, that we're going to see that ramped up. Kamala Harris has not yet conceded defeat. She has also not yet said if she is going to certify Trump's victory. Are Democrats going to be calling for her to not certify based on the fact that Donald Trump committed treason or rebellion against the United States, or treason or insurrection against the United States, that he led an insurrection on January 6th and therefore is constitutionally ineligible to be president of the United States, and that Congress won't certify his victory? She needs to answer that question today. She needs to concede today, just like she demanded Donald Trump did 4 years ago, just like every Democrat demanded. Look, Democrats, democracy is in the balance here. We need to protect democracy. You need to ensure a peaceful transfer of power. We will name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
If you already know football or you want to learn more, listen to the Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest every week on News Talk 1130 WISN. Mark, along with football handicapping expert Mike Merlette, dissect the most interesting games. Plus, a listener can pick a game for a chance to win a $100 gift card.
The Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest is presented by Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac, featuring hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles, plus impeccable customer service. It's worth the trip. HolidayAutomotive.com.
I talk about repairing before replacing because the savings in some cases are ridiculous. And here's a prime example. Not too long ago, we get a call to come out for a quote on a new window, but the customer asks us, hey, if you can fix it, please do, but I don't think you can. I've had 2 other companies out here and both of them told me it can't be done. Well, our guy takes a look at the window, installs the necessary new parts, and $225 later, the window is as good as new. The customer's jaw dropped because in his hands was an absurdly high quote for over $12 grand. If we had to replace it, our quote would have been around $6. But the moral of the story is, when you have the right people out, you get the results you want, and it can save you real money. This is David Wilhelm. Now, some window problems can't be fixed, but when we can fix it, we will. And that's why Lisbon Storm Screen and Door is your clear choice for more.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Hey, it's Jerry Bott, and you know I've said it on the radio 1,000 times. The businesses who make the customer's experience their number one priority are the ones that succeed and thrive. When I bought my SUV at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac, the customer experience blew me away. It was beyond merely professional. It was impeccable.
Great news, Wisconsin. The year-end sale is on at Holiday in Fond du Lac. Perfect timing to add more joy to your holiday season and drive with confidence this winter in a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC, or a GM-certified pre-owned model. Get here, get more for your trade, get our low simplified price, then pair it up with enticing offers to lower your bottom line and payment.
Here's another Holiday fan that you might know.
I'm professional running back Braylon Allen, and I drive Holiday. It's impressive how easy car buying can be with Team Holiday on your side.
Come take a test drive, find yours, and drive it home today from Holiday Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
The team at Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley will wow you. We show up on time, we do the job right the first time, and communicate with you through the entire process. For a free estimate, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com. Put a Klaus on your house.
Are you going to the big store to remodel your home? 1 minute they're pruning roses. The next, recommending countertops. Yikes! Discover affordable beauty at Granite Plus. Visit with friendly experts. Granite, Cambria, cabinets, and flooring. Endless colors and designs. Custom creations just for you. Skip the hassle. Visit the showroom at Granite Plus in New Berlin today. All affordable, all professional, with 0% financing available. Granite Plus. Better design, service, value.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Dr. Ryan Green, sharing a weight loss discovery.
You've heard of those weight loss injections that produce shocking results, right? If your goal is to lose weight, a group of doctors created a remarkable weight loss supplement called Lean, and it's very encouraging. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to help maintain healthy glucose levels, help burn fat by converting fat into energy, and reduce appetite so you eat less. Lean could be the weight loss answer you've been searching for.
Visit TakeLean.com, promo code radio. That's TakeLean.com, promo code radio.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Lord of mercy. All night Sunday Central.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
This is Dan O'Donnell.
Consider me the entity within the industry without a history of spitting the epitome of stupidity.
Today I am feeling like the entity within the industry without a history of spitting the epitome of stupidity after focusing on data and not vibes. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
I had literally thousands of people to choose from for today's Unhinged Liberal of the Day, but I went with Van Jones for this maudlin performance on CNN, emblematic of, I think, a whole lot of liberals today.
I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to. and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy. And once again, they were facing rejection.
Hook those fake tears directly to my veins. That fake anguish is giving me life today. Van Jones, your unhinged liberal of the day. Other races on the ballot, results and analysis, much, much more when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States, and it looks like Wisconsin put him over the top. NBC News reported early this morning Trump won both Wisconsin and the presidency. The former president holds a 49% to 48% advantage over Vice President Harris. With nearly all the votes in the Badger State counted, it looks like Trump won by about 30,000 votes. That's more than Joe Biden won the state by 4 years ago. Milwaukee held its vote count until around 4 this morning, so it may take a while to figure out what the final numbers will be. Incumbent Wisconsin U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin has declared victory in her race against her Republican challenger, Eric Hovde. With 99% of the votes counted in the state, the Democrat Baldwin currently has 49.4% of the vote compared to Hovde's 48.5%. Baldwin passed up Hovde in the vote count after the results from Milwaukee County came in after 4 this morning. Baldwin gained more than 80% of the updated count. That gave her a nearly 16,000 vote lead with more than 3.3 million votes counted. Florida voters have decided to keep the state's 6-week abortion ban in place. The pro-abortion rights amendment needed 60% support to pass. NBC News projects it won't reach that threshold. Had the measure passed, it would have restored allowing abortions in Florida up to fetal viability, which is usually around 24 weeks. The result is considered a victory for Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Bucks are back in action tomorrow night when they face the Utah Jazz at the Fiserv Forum. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Mostly cloudy and cooler today. Should see a high near 54 with a light northwest breeze. Overnight tonight, we will see clearing skies drop into the upper 30s and low 40s. And from there, warm slightly as we get to Thursday with a high near 58. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll tell the untold story of Steve McQueen. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. Allow me to start by apologizing for the use of a 4-letter word in this commercial. If you don't like 4-letter words, you might want to turn down your volume. All right, are we good? Snow. There, I said it. One of my duties at Seasonal Services is to plan for winter and the onslaught of snow and ice. Are you responsible for securing a snow removal and ice control contractor for your commercial property? Now is the time to act. If you wait, you may be too late to secure one of southeastern Wisconsin's best snow and ice removal contractors. So if you own or manage a commercial property in Waukesha or western Milwaukee counties, please call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. We have been providing snow removal and ice control services for 25 years, and we are really good at keeping your commercial property safe. 262-392-3444 or online at seasonalservices.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, made for Wisconsin, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Dr. Ryan Green sharing a weight loss discovery.
You've heard of those weight loss injections that produce shocking results, right? If your goal is to lose weight, a group of doctors created a remarkable weight loss supplement called Lean, and it's very encouraging. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to help maintain healthy glucose levels, help burn fat by converting fat into energy, and reduce appetite so you eat less. Lean could be the weight loss answer you've been searching for.
Visit takelean.com, promo code radio. That's takelean.com, promo code radio.
Hi, this is David Wilhelm, here to tell our customers that we take great pride in your loyalty. So thank you for making your clear choice for more Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can give you a cash offer for your home in just 5 minutes, no matter its condition, because selling your home should not be complicated. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com, pick your closing date, and the rest is simple. That's MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
News Talk 1130 WISN. Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1. On News Talk 1130 WISN, NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Our favorite four-letter word. Free! Free. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Donald Trump has now been convicted of 34 different felony crimes.
Gunfire, former President Trump's campaign rally in Butler County. Investigators calling it a possible assassination attempt.
I proudly accept your nomination for president.
President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid.
There's been another assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
Early voting kicked off today.
The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Goosebumps, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I hear that, goosebumps. Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is a beautiful morning to everybody except Nancy Pelosi, who opened up a press conference this morning by saying this.
No point in saying good morning, because it certainly is not one.
Oh, yes, it is, Nancy. Oh, yes, it is. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is open. 414-799-1130. 1-800-838-9476 is where you can reach us toll free. Also, email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. You can email me. You can find me on YouTube, I should say, also on the podcast. Folks, I would humbly ask, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast, like it, follow it, not just on the iHeartRadio app, wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, I think it's called, Spotify. Does the Odyssey app carry our podcasts? I have no idea. Or not the Odyssey app. What's the one that Odyssey owns? Is that Stitcher, TuneIn? One of those? Yeah, Odyssey is now owned by George Soros. I'm taking a wild guess that company is never, ever, ever going to air the Dan O'Donnell Show. Donald Trump wins a resounding victory, not only taking a projected 312 electoral votes, but also winning the popular vote by about 1.5%. It was a stunning rebuke of Kamala Harris. Now, that soundbite was not totally accurate that we played of John King and Anderson Cooper. When the final votes were tallied, there were 58 counties in the United States. By comparison, there are 72 counties just in Wisconsin. 58 counties, not 0, 58, where Kamala Harris did better than Joe Biden in 2020. There were more than 1,000 counties in which Donald Trump improved upon his 2020 performance. It was a stunning shift to the right. Republicans are now projected to win the House of Representatives. It was thought that they didn't have much of a chance. As things stand right now, they have 198 seats to Democrats' 177. They also flipped 3 seats in the Senate. Bernie Moreno in Ohio. You also have Jim Justice in West Virginia, and also Tim Sheehy in Montana. I don't believe Fox has officially called the Dave McCormick race in Pennsylvania. He is looking very, very strong. Unfortunately, the biggest bit of bad news that I stayed up until about, I would say 4:30, 4:45 last night, until I almost passed out in my easy chair from sheer exhaustion. I was trying to stay up to see when the ballot drop would happen in the city of Milwaukee, to see if Eric Hovde would be able to survive it. It does not appear that he's going to be able to. He is going to lose this race, it looks like, by just a tiny fraction of the vote, by just several thousand raw votes. I believe the number right now is, give or take, about 29,000. Would you believe there was an America First candidate in the race by the name of Thomas Leaguer? Do you know how many votes he got? 28,633. Almost the exact difference between Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde. Now, that would be bad enough if Thomas Leaguer was just some smooth-brained moron who thought it would be a good idea to run for Senate, even though he has no earthly business doing so, because I'm not necessarily sure that his IQ has reached room temperature. That would be bad enough. He was funded by Democrats. He was a plant. I've had my own issues with Phil Anderson running as a libertarian. Folks, the Libertarian Party has always existed. Did I wish Anderson did not run? Yes, of course. Do I believe that he likely siphoned votes away from Eric Hovde? Yes, I do. Have libertarians been running for United States Senate races in Wisconsin forever? Yes, they have. What we haven't had is a fake candidate entirely funded by Tammy Baldwin and her allies that literally did cost Eric Hovde the race. And folks, quite frankly, it is inexcusable if you were too stupid to see, oh, the America First candidate, this is the guy I want to vote for instead of the Republican because I don't like Republicans, but I want conservative governance. If you couldn't see that all that was an attempt to do exactly what Baldwin and Democrats did, cost Republicans a Senate seat, cost a decent and honorable and good man who would have made an incredible senator a seat, mission accomplished, you absolute buffoons. When I launched the state's largest early vote drive, I did so thinking, you know what? Democrats are onto something here. I think we can beat them at their own game. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe in 2024 we did. You reported 12,145 early votes. I very strongly believe we were responsible for many, many more. I think it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40,000 early votes, a lot of whom were people who never early voted before. But I said, you know what? I think turnabout is fair play. I think we can do the exact same thing to Democrats that they did to Eric Hovde and us. Therefore, I am going to be spending the next several weeks, if not months, researching how I can actually start my own political action committee and fund fake candidates who will be running in every single race with names such as the Black Lives Matter Party, the Environment First Party. We will, in fact, flood the ballot in every significant race with candidates who are solely designed to take votes away from Democrats, and here's where you come in. I am also going to explore ways that you can donate to this effort to ensure that no Democrat ever runs without at least one and hopefully 2 or 3 candidates siphoning votes away from them. Moreover, I would also like to fund ads that will air to promote these fake candidates, and I will be promoting them through paid advertisements on social media directly targeted at low propensity, far left Democrat voters who could be persuaded to vote for someone other than the Democrat. Turnabout, you see, is fair play. Fall Fortune Cash Contest. Word this hour, deposit, D-E-P-O-S-I-T. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword deposit. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000 in cash instantly. It is kind of remarkable how closely the difference between Eric Hovde and Tammy Baldwin tracks with the number of votes that were cast for this fake candidate, Thomas Leaguer. I'm crunching the numbers right now. Tammy Baldwin got 1.66 million votes. Eric Hovde got 1.637 million votes. The difference, as it stands right now, okay, let's see, 1.666. For some reason, my calculator isn't working. I realize that this is scintillating radio here. Are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? You don't want to know how close it is. You don't. You will punch whatever inanimate object is sitting right next to you. Because frankly, Thomas Leaguer got 28,633 total votes. The difference between Eric Hovde and Tammy Baldwin right now is 28,687 votes. 55 votes separate those two totals. In other words, almost every single vote that went to Thomas Leaguer almost certainly would have gone to Eric Hovde if Leaguer was not in the race. Phil Anderson is not immune from my wrath either. Well, I do believe he is a good man. Clearly, his presence in the race cost Hovde But Thomas Leaguer was the reason that Eric Hovde lost. Tammy Baldwin, the most pathetic do-nothing senator that this state has ever known, only won, not because Wisconsinites voted for her, but because she was able to trick Wisconsinites into voting for a fake Republican, just like she's tricked Wisconsinites into believing that she's actually a senator. Boy, there's some stiff competition, but it is entirely possible Tammy Baldwin is the most despicable woman in this state. Actually, no, she's not. Because she doesn't live in this state. She's either in Washington, D.C., or in her penthouse with her lover, who apparently she doesn't need to disclose any of those assets. Just. And then you've got the liberal boomers. Is there anyone more annoying than a liberal boomer who said, "Oh, that's our Tammy. We're going to send her back to Washington"? Absolute buffoonery. Sorry, I took this loss personally because of how much I personally like and respect Eric Hovde. Now, the race I don't think is well and truly over, but I just don't believe there are enough Hovde votes. There's just no chance he's going to make up that difference. Thank you very much, Thomas Leaguer. Honest to God, I would love to know who this guy is. I would love to have him on the show. Frankly, I would love to slap him in the face with my ring hand. But I just sort of said the quiet part out loud. Speaking of political violence, I think one of the reasons that the networks held off as long as they did in calling the race for Trump, I really do believe this. The big reason is always because they want to juice turnout. They want to get every last ballot, legal or illegal, coming in the middle of the night in their big population centers in the swing states. They always think they can, if they just keep the counts open long enough, find enough ballots to make up any difference. Trump, however, did make it too big to rig. One of the big reasons I think they hold off on calling that race is because they know that their people will riot if they call it too early. Then again, and there was some rioting late last night, but not really a whole lot. This was within the acceptable range of liberal rioting. It just seems as though this entire election cycle, the far left goon squad, that their hearts just weren't in it. I mean, they managed one pitiful little protest at the Republican National Committee. Really? For literal Hitler? Literal Hitler accepted the nomination in Milwaukee and they had one little rally? Sad. Just sad. In the United States House, no real surprises here. The closest race was very easily Derek Van Orden being challenged by Rebecca Cook. Van Orden is going to win this race. There just aren't enough Cook votes yet. I'm not sure. I should probably text Derek at some point if he's declared victory. Frankly, I've been following so many races, it's tough to keep track. The citizenship requirement for voting, the constitutional amendment passed overwhelmingly with 70% of the vote. This was a resounding victory. And as Mark Belling said on our election coverage last night, this means that 30% of the state wants to cheat in elections by having non-citizens vote. And I don't think there's really any other way to look at that. In the Wisconsin State Senate, the one big race that we were looking at was by far the most expensive state Senate race in Wisconsin's history. It does appear right now, at least, that Jody Habush-Sinekin, the Democrat challenger, might actually unseat. She is up by about 1,400 raw votes, maybe 1,200 raw votes. She looks on the precipice of defeating very, very good conservative Republican Dewey Strobel, who may actually have some votes left. I hesitate to say where this race stands. It has not yet been officially called by any of the local television stations or the Associated Press. There was a bit of an upset Joan Ballweg in District 14, Republican there, she goes down to defeat to Sarah Kieski. I apologize. I wasn't even keyed into that race because I just didn't think there was a chance that Ballweg would go down. Remember, every single state legislative district was gerrymandered, Tony mandered, made more fair, artificially made more democratic, which is totally not gerrymandering. Remember that. The Supreme Court and Governor Evers absolutely did not gerrymander anything. Republicans are going to hold the state Senate. However, with a couple of pickups, Democrats do appear to be potentially poised to retake the state Senate in 2026. Republicans just didn't have enough seats up for grabs that Democrats could take the majority. Republicans no longer have a supermajority in the state Senate, but they do still appear to have the majority in the state assembly. The two most closely watched races there were both in the Milwaukee area, and Republicans have held on to both. In the south suburbs, Bob Donovan, the incumbent Republican and longtime conservative member of the Milwaukee Common Council, who a couple of years ago moved out of Milwaukee to run for the state assembly. He defeated a very difficult challenge by Lou Ann Bird, and I can actually speak from being from that area. Did you know Lou Ann Bird had a campaign consultant working for her from New Hampshire as early as the spring of 2023? That's how much Democrats wanted that race. That's how much they put into it. Turns out people realize that Lou Ann Bird is a crazy liberal wine aunt and wanted no part of her for a second straight election. On the south side of Milwaukee, Jesse Rodriguez also faced a very, very difficult redistrict as she got drawn in with a whole lot more Democrats. She survives her challenge as well. It does appear by my napkin math here that Republicans are going to retain 53 assembly seats. Clearly, this is down significantly from the near 60 seats that they had. But again, when you're dealing with a rather obvious partisan gerrymander, and oh yes, by the state Supreme Court's own reasoning in its ridiculous decision from last December, Tony Evers' maps did meet their definition of a partisan gerrymander. Republicans were forced to sign them because they correctly presupposed that the maps that the far left radicals on the state Supreme Court would draw a map that was even farther to the left, even more gerrymandered than what Tony Evers managed to come up with. Again, across the country, it does appear that Republicans are going to have control of both houses of Congress. They're going to have the presidency. They're going to have the Supreme Court in a 6-3 majority. And it is also likely that you're going to see during Donald Trump's term the retirement of Justice Clarence Thomas, possibly the retirement of Justice Samuel Alito. It is entirely possible that Donald Trump will be the first president, I believe, in possibly a century and possibly ever. Dave, you want to do some research on this? If that happens, Donald Trump will appoint a majority of the Supreme Court. He appointed 3 justices in his first 4-year term. He has the potential to appoint 2 more in his second. This would be the very definition of a Trump court. Dave says, are we counting George Washington, who appointed all of the Supreme Court justices? FDR had 8. But it was, yeah, right, exactly. FDR was president for 4 terms. Taft had 5. Okay, so the first president in very nearly a century, about 80 years. Oh, wow. Eisenhower had 4, too, in 8 years. Wow. I guess, that makes logical sense. You know why? I don't want to be morbid here. Supreme Court justices died a whole lot more often while they were sitting Supreme Court justices back in those days. We are running way late for a break. You are listening to an election celebration here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next.
The election may be over, but the news does not stop.
Record turnout in multiple states.
Don't miss a minute. Take us with you on the free iHeartRadio app in the car or on the go to stay informed about the latest developments.
We expect statements from both sides momentarily.
Just open the app and search news to keep listening.
Election officials are continuing to work around the clock.
Always live. Open the free iHeartRadio app now and start listening.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, which really is the best decision you can make after a collision. But don't just take my word for it. You hear me talk all the time about how great Mander is. Here's customer Melissa, who writes, "This is the second vehicle we have had repaired at Mander, and we will keep coming back anytime it's needed. They kept me updated every step of the way and took care of car rental details, so I was never without transportation. I had a question after I left, and everything was answered. They don't just send you off with a hearty handshake. They stand behind their work with a lifetime warranty, and customer service is absolutely top notch." That's right, Melissa, and that's why I have been recommending Mander and been a loyal Mander customer for so many years. Now with 7 locations to serve you. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. Mander really is the best decision after a collision.
Ever feel like you're playing hide and seek with the store employees while shopping for your home renovation?
Hey, can I get some help here?
Skip the hassle and head to Granite Plus for experts who know granite, Cambria, cabinets, and flooring. Granite Plus gives you personalized expertise and affordability with 0% financing available. Visit Granite Plus in New Berlin today and say goodbye to the big store confusion. Granite Plus, better design, service, value. Make your home the perfect gathering spot today.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013, 800-444-2013, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Now,
back to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm not sure exactly what happened during that commercial break, but it just all of a sudden hit me how tired I actually am, how little I've slept over the last 3 weeks, and just how much just stress I have been feeling. I've been very open with you folks. Dan Nation, I really do feel like you guys and gals are a family. And I don't mean that as, oh, we're all family. I don't mean that like Vin Diesel in the Fast and the Furious movies, right? I really do feel like, you know, when I see people, when I meet people out in public, it's like my old friend Jeff Wagner always said. People may recognize you from TV, but they know you from radio. It means so much. And I've been really open with you folks about, you know, some of my struggles with anxiety. I take anti-anxiety medication. It's called escitalopram. I recommend it to anybody and everybody. It's basically a generic Lexapro. It really helps. This might shock you. folks. I'm a bit of a high-strung guy. I know. It totally contradicts my personality on the radio. But over the last 3 weeks, there was just a tightness in my chest. I woke up feeling anxious. There was just nothing I could do about it. I've lost weight. I haven't really been eating. I haven't been sleeping well. And it's because I think, doing the state's largest early vote drive, trying my best to do what I can for the conservative cause here in Wisconsin, I really felt like I put my heart and soul into this election, and as a result had not necessarily a personal stake. I mean, I don't, sorry, libs, you can't vote me out of office. I have a microphone regardless. But it felt just tense, just so nervous. At about 3:30 last night, walking out of the building here, I finally was able to breathe. And I wonder how many other people are feeling the exact same way. But during the commercial break, it finally just hit me that, holy cow, do I probably need a nap. We have not yet heard from Kamala Harris, and this is someone. Has that been announced? Oh, producer Dave, sorry. Seeing as I am so tired, my eyes are getting blurry and I don't have my reading glasses on. Kamala Harris is going to make a concession speech at about 5 p.m. tonight. Is that 5 o'clock Eastern or Central Time? 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central Time. I'm taking a wild guess. Mark Belling is going to carry it on his show. I don't want to speak for Mark. Obviously, he gets to decide what goes on his program. I would have to guess you'll be able to hear that on the Mark Belling late afternoon show, on the Vicki McKenna show on WIBA. Yeah, Dave wants to know if they calibrated the teleprompter. Yeah, no, we don't want to see her go off script one last time. Look, folks, the reality is they were clearly priming the pump to keep those counts open as long as possible, to just keep counting ballots for days at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, can we please every election make it too big to rig? One of the worst developments and one of the most harmful, the actual harmful development for democracy, is Democrats just normalizing the idea that it should take days or weeks to count ballots. The state of Florida counted every single one of its ballots and had results within an hour and a half of the polls closing in the third largest state in America, a state that was just hit with a hurricane a month ago. The reason for this is that Florida counts its ballots before Election Day. Wisconsin needs to do this too. In addition to running fake candidates against every Democrat I can find, I am also going to use whatever leverage and whatever power I have in conservative circles to get a bill passed that would allow the votes to be counted the day before Election Day. Folks, I cannot deal with these late-night ballot dumps from Milwaukee anymore. Clearly, what Democrats want to do is get as many ballots to continue to come in long after the polls close, whether or not they're legally filled out, whether or not they're even legitimate ballots, to try to change the outcome of races. That has been their strategy. It was clearly their strategy in 2020. Can someone please explain to me, in logical terms, how did Donald Trump only lose 3 million votes, but Kamala Harris lost 15 million from 2020? Where did those 15 million? Let's say a percentage of them went to Trump. You would have thought then that his vote total would have risen from 74 million. You're willing to tell me there are just 15 million Democrats who vanished in 4 years. Folks, the late-night ballot dumps do nothing but allow Democrats to get questionable ballots in. We need to get the vote. It passed the state assembly. Republicans passed the bill overwhelmingly. Evers said he was going to sign it. Okay? We need to get this thing passed. Coming up After the break, we are going to talk to Republican Party Chairman Brian Shimming about what was different in 2024. Also, part of our conversation with Donald Trump as part of WISN's election coverage, the moment that I essentially told him that he was very likely to win the presidency at about 6:30 yesterday evening. Stay tuned. The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back. Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch-certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, joins me. And this week, no surprise what we're talking about, election week, Dave.
Yeah, you've got a removal of one of the big hurdles that people are talking about, and that is what's going to happen after the election. How is the market going to perform? And I would say, number one, let's take a look at history and how has it performed under certain circumstances. And since World War II, we've had a general upward trajectory of the equities market. Yeah, some sectors will do better than others. There's no doubt about that. You think about energy or healthcare or retail stocks. Those are important. But number one, let's look at this at the sense of history. I will tell you, in recent history, when President Obama won, my conservative friends said, oh my gosh, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. And when Trump won, they said, well, Trump's going to blow up the world. Well, neither one of those things happened, and the equities market moved up. That's number one. Number two, you can put guardrails in your portfolio, Dan, to say, all right, let's set some aside, 5%, 10%, maybe even 20%, and set it aside, because with volatility becomes opportunity. And the last thing I would say is planning is super important. Obviously, we have tax law changes on the forefront. We have different ideas that can be put into place. So make sure your financial plan is in place, that you understand the estate planning ramifications, the income tax ramifications, and where there are opportunities. Dan, this is what we do on a daily basis.
And that's why you really do need to have a steady hand to guide you with objective, rational thought and someone who knows what they're doing, but is also working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary. That's why you go to annexwealth.com and get that wealth metric. For Dave Spano, he is the CEO of Annex. I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thanks for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
It's showtime. Nary Home Improvement showtime. Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. I invite you to visit Color Wheel at the Nary Milwaukee Home Improvement Show, October 18th to 20th. Now, why would you do something like this? Because it makes sense. and you like things that make sense, this is a chance to meet us in a no-pressure environment. Away from your home, away from any pressure of being sold, or feeling on the spot. So take some photos of your place, bring them along, generate some ideas, and take your time with us at our booth. Get to know Color Wheel. See if we are the right kind of people for you. And let's talk. It's literally what we're there for. Color Wheel Painting, cabinet painting, wallpaper install, ceilings, walls, and trim. One room or a large whole home project. One painter or many more. Always on time, on budget, and always the best service. Visit us at the Nary Milwaukee Home Improvement Show. Color Wheel Painting.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
Where the heck is everybody?
Hassleus mattress showrooms are employee-free. Test your Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect Sleeper without salespeople breathing down your neck.
Okay.
That means we can sell for way less. Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
Yes, but...
And through Monday, get an extra $248 credit just for shopping local.
I just have one question.
What's that?
Where the heck is everybody?
Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassleus.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Statewide. A victory for the ages. Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. Joining me now live on the phone, the chairman of the Republican Party of Wisconsin, who deserves a tremendous amount of credit for delivering the Badger State for the president, Brian Shimming. Sir, welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Congratulations.
Well, listen, Dan, about last night, it was actually one of the better parts of the night is when Ron Johnson and I got in the car to go down and look at Central Count and what was going on in Central Count. And we were in the vehicle and we were heading downtown to the Baird Center. And I looked at him. I said, let's call Dan O'Donnell because we knew you were doing election night coverage last night to kind of lay out what we were doing, why we went to Central Count. So that was terrific to talk to you, and ISN's coverage last night, which was terrific. And but the victory is one for the ages. There's no doubt about it. We painted some of those blue walls, bricks red last night, and we laid out a plan. We've talked about this. We laid out a plan a couple of years ago when I took over that had a couple of key pieces, I think, and certainly one of them was early vote. We had to bring Republicans across the bridge, and I know you talk about this a lot. Mm-hmm. We had to bring Republicans across the bridge on early voting, and I think we did that. We'll be looking at that a lot as we go forward here, but we just can't keep going into Election Day 100,000 votes down and expect to make it up in 13 hours. The arithmetic just doesn't work. I was the first chairman in the country to advocate for early vote and put on an early vote campaign. It was kind of a difficult sell, and I understand why. Heck, I'm the same way. I like voting on Election Day. Yeah. But the truth is, when you get people to vote early and you can spend resources on undecided voters, which is what we did yesterday, we were able to put extra dollars into undecided and low propensity voters because we had a lot of people voting early. So that was part of it. Our election integrity operation was part of it, where we had 6,000 people statewide step up to be part of our poll worker and poll watcher program, which was successful as well, and a field organization that was pretty significant. 41 offices across the state, hundreds of thousands actually of volunteers, but dozens of paid staff. So I have to say I'm taking a little amusement this morning in the state Democratic Party because they've been bragging for months about about their massive field organization, how great they are, and everything else. They found out yesterday that celebrity endorsements and bringing in $1 bazillion of out-of-state money doesn't always work when you don't have the right candidates, and that's part of the reason that Donald Trump is in the presidency right now. Wisconsin's electoral votes put Donald Trump over the top last night.
They certainly did. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as though Eric Hovde is going to win the United States Senate race, largely because of the presence of a fake conservative candidate there. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to sort of dissect that, sir. It was a good night, I think, for the Wisconsin Assembly, which holds on to a majority despite gerrymandered districts that were just put into place. The state Senate, do we have an update on Dewey Strobel's race? How is that one looking?
My understanding, at least at this moment, is that Dewey Strobel fell short in that race, the most expensive state Senate race in Wisconsin history, and he's a dynamite candidate, and of course, a terrific legislator. I mean, that one really is a terrible, terrible loss because he's a quality guy. But the table got, to your point, the table got reset in the legislature. This is my third set of maps.
Right.
I'm going to date myself here, but everybody knows. And so, but the Republicans will be able to restabilize now their incumbents and their candidates. I've recruited literally dozens of people to run for the legislature, and this offers an opportunity. To your point, that the Assembly came back. Remember, Dan, what was it? Up till a couple of days ago, the Democrats are bragging publicly about the possibility of taking over the Assembly.
Right.
That did not happen last night. And having been, speaking of arithmetic, having served in staff positions in the Senate and the Assembly, it doesn't do any good to be in the minority. You have to be in the majority, and Republicans are in the majority in the state Senate and the state Assembly this morning as we speak.
Republican Party of Wisconsin Chairman Brian Shimming, sir, congratulations. Thank you so very much for taking some time. Last night, at the beginning of our election night coverage, we were joined by none other than Donald J. Trump himself, and I actually broke the news to him that he was doing very well in a whole bunch of counties that you would never expect. There appears to be a massive surge of support for you in Florida. You have apparently flipped Duval County in Florida, which is a very positive sign for Georgia, and in Miami-Dade County, a county that Biden won by 7 points in 2020, you appear to be running away with. Your reaction to that, sir?
Well, I'm very happy about it. I know I'm doing very well with the Hispanics. They're great people, entrepreneurial energy, and fantastic, just very energetic, fantastic people. And I have a very special relationship with them. And I didn't know that I was doing well in those areas because those are tough areas. But if you're winning those areas, that says something very good for the night. And you're right, it has a lot to do with certain sections of Georgia. And that would be indeed really terrific. Wow, that's great information. Thank you.
Yeah, it's about 75% of the vote in, and you are doing significantly better in Duval and a whole lot better in Miami-Dade as well.
Wow.
It looks as though, sir, rural counties and counties that went for you in 2020, the turnout there in the early vote and what we've seen throughout the day today, and this is really holding in states that are swing states and that aren't. We're seeing this in your native New York as well as New Jersey. Trump counties are just showing up, to borrow your phrase, sir, big league. And that's got to fill you with a whole lot of hope for tonight, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I heard we're doing well. Maybe you could give me the numbers in New York and New Jersey, but I heard we're doing well in New York and New Jersey. It's great. They're not at all swing because they haven't been won in decades, frankly, but by a Republican. But I'm hearing very, very good things. And how am I? Do you have any numbers in New York and New Jersey? I'll turn it around.
I actually have, sir, Morris County, New Jersey. It appears as though you were at least.
I'll turn it around.
I actually have, sir, Morris County, New Jersey. It appears as though you were at least projected to do much, much better than you did in 2020. And also, we have some data that suggests that registered registered Republicans in some parts of New York State are outvoting registered Democrats, which is all but unheard of. And this has got to say something, I think.
Well, I think it does. New York is a tough one, and it's a great one, but it's a tough one, as you know. And I do really well in certain parts of New York, and in other parts of New York, basically, it's not me; it's a Republican. And but there is that rumor that I'm doing really well in New York and New Jersey. That's great.
That is President-elect Donald Trump, who surprised us all by giving us a call right at the outset of our election night coverage. We ended up talking with him for about 15 minutes. And in that little exchange, I think I was one of the first ones to tell him, he seemed very surprised at how well he was doing in New Jersey and New York, that wasn't something that he had yet really been briefed on, as the results were just starting to come in. And that was really the first tell that Trump was probably going to win this race. If he was doing as well as he was doing in Morris County, New Jersey, he certainly was going to do very, very well in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and other places that were going to deliver him swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Folks, I cannot tell you how happy I am, how excited I am for the next 4 years, and how proud I am of all of you for coming together, for delivering Wisconsin, for Donald Trump. Yes, we came up just very, very short in the race to elect Eric Hovde, but all in all, this was a resounding victory for the ages, and I hope you spend all day celebrating. Dan O'Donnell Show returns tomorrow.